Hey, so you're listening to The Gamers Podcast. That's the gamers actively making entertainment, where us, a bunch of gamers, get together and actively work on making content for your entertainment. I'm Spencer, and today with me, I have two wonderful, glorious people. I've got Neo. Hey, Neo, how's it going?
Hey, bro.
And Zio, how's it going with you?
I'm fantastic. How are you, Spen?
I'm fan-freaking-tastic. And thank you for the clap there, Neo.
Jesus,
I'm glad
You said
finally...
whenever I wanted.
I did say whenever you wanted. So, one quick question for you guys. You guys' names, Neo and Zio. I'm assuming you guys know each other outside of all of this.
It was a fluke by
Yeah, it was
accident,
complete
actually.
fluke. Yeah, complete fluke.
Oh, really?
In all honesty, yeah, we both joined a Paragon team a while back. Like me and my friend Jason started it up, and we were the leaders of this team. And Zio came and joined us. And I was going by Nista, but my friend Jason kept telling everyone my name was Zio, so I just went from
Neo.
that my name was Neo, so I just went from Neo, therefore. And so yeah, we had Neo and Zio. It's great. It just works out.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So, what games have you guys been playing so far this week? We're gonna jump over to Zio first because Neo, I introduced you first, so I don't wanna you guys to think I'm picking favorites or anything.
I wasn't, but now I do. The games I've been playing is I've been consistently playing the Darwin Project a lot. It's one of my favorite games to pass my time with.
Did you say the Darwin Project?
The Darwin Project.
Oh, the Darwin Project. Is that the one where it's all of those hexagons, or whatever the five-shaped one is? Hex maybe. And you've got all
hexagon,
those different people.
Yeah,
your creatures, and you just start like slowly evolving them, having them go through different processes, and as you expand out. No, I'm thinking of a different game.
Yep.
I'm not sure which one I'm
So
thinking of.
the Darwin Project is a battle royale game with survival elements.
I was completely off. That's the one in that snowy covered place.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. So it's just instead of 100 people in a map, you have 10, and you have to chop down trees and take down furniture to get leather and wood, and you can make arrows and build armor and make traps.
So I'm assuming the map's a lot smaller then.
The map is a lot smaller, but they do have hexagons. So like I was confused where you were going at first. Like the map is divided by hexagons. So, and then it closes slowly by a hexagon shutting down.
Okay. What happens when the hexagon shuts down?
There'll be one hexagon left, and then it'll go into sudden death mode, and then that will just slowly start caving in on itself, like a typical battle royale.
If you're in an area that's shutting down, what happens?
So it will announce that an area is shutting down. So you have 10 players, and then there's a game director. So one person gets to be a game director where they can kind of oversee everything.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, the game is made for streamers, essentially. And so like the game director can kind of control the game in a way. Like they can shut some areas down. They can give gifts to people. They can nuke an area. They can do all kinds of stuff.
Oh, because, I forgot about the developers were talking about having things in there so that in the stream, like the viewers could like vote on who's their favorite person or like have things like that and actually interacted with the game.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's actually a really cool concept, and it's a lot of fun. It's actually one of the best communities I've ever been a part of in any game.
Oh, okay.
So it's fantastic. I don't even remember your question now. What'd you ask?
What games you've been playing?
No. Thanks, Neo.
I thought there was another question in between there, but yeah, that was the one.
But man, mostly I've just been playing the Darwin Project. I love that game. I recommend it to everybody. It's 100%, like I said, the best community you've ever been. Like, there's very little toxicity, and everyone's pretty awesome in their own way. Because the game gets real personal. You can mic up, and when you get in a certain distance of somebody, you can actually talk to them.
Oh, okay. So it goes in by approximate location. Then, so if someone gets within a certain distance, then you're able to communicate with them.
Correct.
But if you step too far away, then it cuts out.
Exactly. Like I've had a lot of awesome moments in the game. When I first started, I met this one guy who's super cool, and I had no idea what I was doing. He like shoots an arrow at me. He's like, "That was a warning shot. You look like you're new." And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you want help getting wood?" And I said, "Sure." So like he helped me get wood so I can make arrows. He built me a fire, and then so we didn't freeze to death. And he said, "Well, we have to murder each other now," and we fought, and he murdered me. But
oh, nice. At least
But
he
it
was
was
kind enough to not completely slaughter you.
Exactly.
He just let
it
you
was
get
the
wood
reaction.
first, and then he
Yeah.
slaughtered you.
And there's just all kinds of different moments. Like I had one guy play a song for me because I kept him warm. He went AFK. Instead of murdering him, I built him a fire and protected him.
And he played a song.
And so when he came back, he's like, I actually have a guitar. And he like sang a song to me. It was great.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
You made a new friend.
Yeah. So I play that game all the time trying to make friends, but most people just want to murder me.
That's fair. I mean, that is the point of the game by the sounds of it.
For them.
For them. Do you have anything else that's been in your radar recently?
There's a game that I'm really looking forward to coming out called Death Garden.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you mentioned that earlier.
I did. So
What is
Death Garden.
Death Garden.
Do you ever play? Is it Dead by Daylight? I think it is. Or Friday the 13th.
I haven't, but I know roughly what it is.
So it's kind of similar to those. So like Friday the 13th, you have a Jason and then like campers, and Jason murders the campers.
Yeah.
And so by this game, you have this one player who's called the Hunter, and then they're an overpowered being in like a mechanical suit, and they're hunting other players called runners, I believe. And the runners have like bow and arrows and like small little traps to kind of fight back, but they also have objectives to complete. So the hunter has to kind of just go out and try to murder all the runners. All the runners have to run away and set traps to distract them and work together essentially to complete the objectives as a whole team.
I'm starting to see a theme here with your games you enjoy playing.
I really enjoy competitive games, but I enjoy games that require a little more, work and involvement with other people.
Well, that makes sense. That's kind of cool, though. So this Death Garden game, the end goal, I'm assuming, is you just have to survive a certain amount of time, or are you supposed to defeat
From what I've
hunter?
seen, survive/defeat. Like you have objectives you have to complete. I didn't get to play when they had a small closed beta. I found it after the beta was over, but it's coming out in August, and I already pre-ordered it. So.
Oh, nice.
But it looks really cool. It's like an arena competitive.
Zio, the hunter like knocks you down and then goes and puts you in a machine, and if you don't get saved in time, then the machine actually kills that runner.
Okay, so yeah, like Dead by Daylight, where he hangs you on that hook and then like they come and suck you up. Yeah.
And then
awesome.
for the runners to win, they have to go around and activate these different 3 different totems around the map and defend them for a certain amount of time. And keep them active or something. Yeah, they're the objectives.
It sounds actually a lot of fun.
It does. It looks really good. I watched a few videos of gameplay, and that hyped me enough to where I just automatically pre-ordered the game. So
if you're into these kinds of games, have you played the one game I'm about to ask? Fortnite?
I have my relationship with Fortnite's awkward and weird. So, Neo and we met through a game called Paragon.
Yes.
Which was a MOBA. And I fell in love with Paragon. Neo fell in love with Paragon. And then we played Fortnite when it first came out. But then, Fortnite became an overnight success type of game. And Epic Games took all the assets from Paragon and put them on Fortnite. And so it forced Paragon to shut down. So I've been kind of salty and avoided.
So they took all of the assets?
Not the assets of the game, but the assets of all the developers. They took the entire team.
Over, yeah.
That would make sense. Okay, I can understand why you're a little salty about it then.
Yeah, it's because Paragon was getting close to an official release, and
so it never even fully released then.
Yeah, no, it was technically just an open beta still, and it was still a successful game. The game wasn't actually failing by any means. It was just that Epic Games
work on it.
Made a shit ton of money from Fortnite, so they took everybody away. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. Business decision.
Well, I mean, if you think about it this way, now Paragon will always be able to be held on that pedestal of, man, that was a fantastic game. And you'll never have been able to get tired of it, so you'll always have fond memories.
There's some hard memories too, but yeah, you're right.
There's probably not fun memories.
But no, I mean, in one way, it kind of the death of Paragon spawned a bunch of indie developers. So there's a team actually creating a Paragon 2 because Epic Games released all the assets to the public to be used.
Oh, okay.
And then there's another game creating another mobile called Project Phoenix Rising.
I have heard of
and
that one.
There's a couple other more interesting MOBAs being released because of the closing of Paragon, how it affected other people. So,
Nice.
I mean, this could spawn a new generation of types of MOBAs that I hope will overtake, because I love MOBAs, I just hate isometric point of views.
Well, Mr. Neo, I know there's one game you've been playing recently, and you're gonna want to talk about it, but I'm gonna have to ask you to hold off, seeing as how it's kind of a topic that's gonna be coming up a little later. Are you gonna be okay about that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Are there any other games besides that one? that you've been playing?
Well, I have recently started Guild Wars 2.
We're gonna have to play.
We're gonna have to play. You play Guild Wars 2?
Oh,
I'm very new. Like, I'm only like an hour or two into it.
What's Guild Wars 2?
Oh, Zio, seriously?
Neo, take it away.
It's an MMO.
Oh.
MMORPG. Yeah, you're not really
Man,
into them.
you're really selling this game.
It's so hard.
In my defense, I haven't had much experience with it yet, but like, yeah, it's got a pretty cool combat system. It's got some nice skills and a really in-depth skill system. So
Yeah, so
I really haven't got that far with it yet.
So, I mean, if you haven't heard of Guild Wars 2, you probably haven't heard of the original Guild Wars.
I've heard of the game, like the title, I just never knew what it was about. I just assumed it was just an RPG.
Yeah, so Guild Wars 2 is the sequel to the original Guild Wars. It takes place a fair amount of years later on. And this MMO, it's taken a fairly new approach. I believe there was another MMO that was similar to it, but I don't remember which one it was, where it's taken the concept of roles, where like the typical tank, the typical DPS, healer, like, and just gotten rid of it. So now, technically, every character is able to fill any of the roles, and that's done through it's like weapon systems, where whatever weapon you have equipped, that changes the skills that you can use. So if you have a great sword, you're gonna have, it's like there's a move where you do like the run up and charge, and you like hit the guy with the hilt. There's a spin where you like spin through a bunch of guys, dealing some area damage. But if you were to switch over to a warhammer, like a big two-handed one, now suddenly you've got this move where you like do a bit of a jump and you like come down and smash the ground, and it changes all of your skills that way.
Sure.
I think the offhand system is really cool as well. So like if
Yes.
you can have a main weapon and an offhand. And considering which main weapon and offhand you have, you also get different combinations of abilities. So you can have like a pistol as your main and a sword as your offhand, and it will give you like maybe a headshot ability and a stab ability, or you can have like a dagger and a sword, and it will give you like a teleport ability and stuff. It's quite cool.
Huh. All right, that does sound pretty cool.
The one of the main selling features of the game, though, is its whole living world and living story, where the living world idea of it is you go into a zone where it's like level 1 to 20. Anybody that enters the zone, if they're above level 20, it like scales them down to level 20, so that way they can still interact with everything, and it's not going to be some crazy overpowered guy coming in and wrecking all of what you're doing. But there's different events will occur. For example, shoot, I can't even think of any off the top of my head. Say there's like an army of undead that's moving over towards some sort of camp, and you go and you fight the undead army. It destroys them, it weakens their forces, and then you go around kind of finishing other events, taking out the undead, so that you can eventually weaken them down enough and do an assault on like one of their bases. But if you are unsuccessful in stopping the undead, then they'll make it over to the fort. There'll be like a siege thing. If they end up taking the fort, then that's now under their control, and it's like different. I hate calling it a living world, because it's not so much of a living world, but it's more of like a chain of events, where different things that happen can spark different paths of different quest lines.
Okay.
Which is kind of neat. It's a lot of fun, but when you've played it for a very long time, it gets a little dull. That's the only downside to that I can think of. But it's really neat. It's a lot of fun. And Neo, when we finish up here, we're gonna have to. I'll give you give you my character information so we can party up sometime.
I would be happy to try it out with you guys. I'm always down to try a game. My problem with games is I just hate grinding.
Well, it is free to play. I believe most of its content now, except for the expansions. I'll have to double check on that. Don't quote me on it. But I believe you can play most of the game without spending any money.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's an MMO, so we're probably gonna have to grind at some point, Zio.
Well, the game actually does a pretty good job dealing with the grinding, where they have like all of these different zones. It's like levels 1 to 20, and there's several different zones that are levels 1 to 20, and then several different ones that are other level things. So that way, if you get tired of doing the same stuff in one zone, you can head over to another one, and it's still kind of grinding, but it gives you a bit more of freedom to jump around and try out different areas, do different things. And you'll find that you actually level up fairly quickly.
Okay.
And I haven't actually found the game to be super grindy. I've just found different areas to be a little on the slower side compared to others, as in like content-wise.
I've been sold to try it.
And sorry, Neo, I took the show there from you. So, is there anything else?
That's fine. We were talking about your game, so.
But is there anything else you've been playing this week besides the game that you shall not name at this time? Because we're gonna talk about it later.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Warframe. I've been playing a lot of Warframe. I'm always playing a lot of Warframe. I love the shit out of that game.
He talks about it all the time.
Well,
not all the time, Zio. I just constantly want you to come and join in on the fun. So you know.
Well, what is it that really hooks you on it? Because I tried it out and I've played it a little bit, but I've had a hard time getting into the game.
I think it's the whole power fantasy sort of thing, and also I enjoy the complexities of it. Like, there's so much to do as well. There's so much content there. Like, I'm never bored. There's always something else that I can go and try. Well, at least at the moment. I get where Zio's coming from. He feels grind, which Warframe is an extremely grindy game because everything that you want to get in the game takes an excessive amount of time to make. But also, you can just play through the game and progress and just get new things on your way. The game does just give you stuff for playing.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. It's sort of like Marmite. You either love it or hate it. You either hate that there is a lot of grind to it, or you love all the content that's there to explore if you grind to get there.
No, that's a pretty good explanation there.
Warframe, just like Marmite. That should be their slogan.
Marmite, bro, Marmite.
Oh, Marmite.
Marmite.
Marmite. I'm like, what the fuck?
So how long have you been playing Warframe then?
Oh shit! I
Have you been
first
playing it
tried
since it came
Warframe. No, not since it came out, but I think like 3 years ago. The game's been out for 5 years. The first time I tried it was like 3, maybe 4 years ago. And I absolutely fucking hated it. The game was a complete piece of shit. I did not play it for another 2 years, then tried it again, and the game was still shit. So I tried it again about a year ago, and they've updated the shit out of it, and it's amazing, and I have not stopped playing it since.
So you've really seen the game change then? Over its time.
They are constantly updating it and adding new content, which about the game. Like that's what I mean with there's always something new to do. There's always some huge expansion that they're working on. Like recently, they announced they're bringing out a new open world area called Fortuna. It's meant to be absolutely huge, as well as a new. About that. Yeah, it's been quite marketed quite heavily, so it's like everywhere at the moment. It's kind of hard not to notice it. But they're also bringing out a thing called Railjack with it as well, which is like a cooperative sort of fly around space and take on enemy ships and like invade their ships. It's really cool. I'm really excited.
That sounds fun.
When it comes out, Zio, I'll make sure that you come and join in.
Okay, I'm down for that.
But do remember, Zio, we're gonna have to grind to get there.
See, I like playing games for story purposes. Not like necessarily the game itself doesn't have to have a story. But for me, like, why I do things and why I play things is to tell a story to somebody else. So,
well,
like,
you see,
that explains why you're looking for
story,
friends in a game about surviving and killing each other before the world shrinks down and crushes you.
Exactly. I mean, it's the community itself. Like, everybody in this community is so different.
It's the story of the game.
It's the story
really sucks you in there.
It is, and that's what it is. So like, well, yeah, I talk about Ark with Neo and stuff like that, and that was fun for me because we have these stories to tell in these moments of hilarity or things that just happen to us, and the grindy parts are literally things I forget that exist.
That's because you didn't do them. I did them all, and then
well-
Sock took over and did them all. Ark was fun for you because you never had to grind.
Hey, I had a lot of down moments too. Okay, I got murdered a lot.
You also created a war between two clans, so yeah,
I did
remember
do
that
that
part as
actually.
well.
I forgot about that.
You were a complete douche.
How did you create a war between two clans? I gotta
Okay.
know this.
So it was towards the end days of us playing Ark. We're like actually starting to know what we're doing in this game and know what to do. Well, we decided we were done with a certain server and we wanted to go to a different type of world.
Okay.
We dropped into this world and we got completely put on opposite ends of this world. And
Okay.
I got dropped in a camp. And I spawned in the middle of this camp and they took me as a prisoner.
Nice.
And so for a good, like, I don't know, we played like for 8 hours that day. For about 4 or 5 of those hours, I was a slave and I had to just forage materials for these people as they threatened to murder me. And like, during this time, a T-Rex came and attacked the camp and they were distracted. And turned out another clan was hunting that T-Rex and they were trying to capture it or something. And so the clans started arguing over it and they're on the brink of like a fight, but then they're casually discussing. Well, I had a crap ton of materials on me, so I made a bow and arrow and a few arrows, and I shot one of the clan members, and then they all started murdering each other. So I ran away.
Oh,
and used
man,
that
that's
as my
awesome.
escape. The entire time, Neo and our other buddy Soul were
Setting
building
up a
something
camp.
somewhere else.
He
I'm
was
like,
setting
guys,
up
I just started a war. I'm running away. And then like, I ended up getting murdered in the crossfire. Somebody murdered me somewhere along the line, but.
Yeah,
It was-
meanwhile, Neo and his other friend, they're just sitting around the campfire and having some roasted dodo and just enjoying the time.
Yeah, the entire time they just listened to me bitch about how I was being a slave.
Whilst we sat there and did all the grinding as usual.
Hey, you know, again, I have a story to tell.
Well, hey, you guys both got what you wanted. Zio got his story and Neo got his grind.
Yeah.
Best.
Yeah,
of
I
both.
don't
grind.
want the grind. What do you
Whatever. You always do it. No
Yeah,
matter
that's
what.
because, dude, power fantasy. You know I love it.
Every game he ever suggests is either
That-
ridiculously grindy or has a lot of micromanaging. And those are two
That's-
things I hate in video games.
It's not that. I just pick games where I can just feel really powerful, and the issue is you have to grind to get powerful. There's no point in being powerful if you don't have to put any work into it.
See, I view it powerful as like just skill, and that's why like how we met on Paragon. Like I got good at Paragon because I was getting better.
And I got good at Paragon from excessively playing the same character for hours on end.
Well, while we're on the topic of grindy games, have you guys looked into the latest update for No Man's Sky?
I have heard a bit about it.
I read about it. I read that it's finally everything that they promised it would be when they first launched it.
There's real multiplayer.
I believe so. I think it's pretty close to what it was supposed to be when it launched. Well, the multiplayer isn't quite how they said it was going to be. Before, it would be just like randomly going around, checking out a planet, and then you see a ship fly by, and you're like, oh, hey, that's another player. But in this one, I believe there's a limit to how many players can be in the same area, and you can either opt into finding another session, or opt into allowing people to find your session.
Oh. I mean, that's still better, because when
Yeah.
No Man's Sky first came out, they said you theoretically could run into somebody.
Yeah,
But
it was
then,
pretty
like
much
2 days later, 2 people were in the exact same spot on the exact same planet,
and
and they couldn't see each other.
Yeah.
And then they added in the glowing orbs, didn't they? So like you can't actually see
Yeah.
players be, which was still no. It's still
Well-
not what I want.
Did the glowing orbs even work though?
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
I honestly
Because
don't know.
I've never seen any of them when I played for the little
Like-
bit of time.
My buddy and I bought this game for the fact because they promised, there's multiplayer. They said it's possible to find each other, but it'll be hard. So like we made
Well,
it our
They
mission.
didn't lie.
Well, we made it our mission to find each other, and because we spawned on different planets, and I spent days going planet to planet to planet looking for this guy. When I finally found out that you actually couldn't,
Ooh,
I was
that'd be a
just-
good
I was
kick in the
mad.
teeth.
I was so mad. I was like, so I just gave up on the game, and then to find out that there's actual multiplayer, and I actually seen a video of people playing together and stuff, and it does look better. So I'm actually very interested in possibly playing it again.
Yeah, because I got it when it first, well, not when it first came out. I waited a couple months until a few updates came out, and then I rather enjoyed the game. I thought it was kind of fun, but it did slowly start to die off on me. But when I played, that was before bases were possible to be built.
Yeah, see, and that was after when I started. 'Cause when I started, you couldn't do anything. You just collected resources to fix your ship until your ship broke again, and then you'd collect resources to fix it again.
Yeah.
That was literally the game, and so it was just barren nothingness of just looking for resources so you can rebuild your ship once in a while.
Yeah, because I believe now they've actually got, I think there's two storylines that you can follow, or quest lines, I guess you could say. One of them's like the main story, and then another one I think has to do with obelisks, or maybe,
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I haven't gotten far enough into it. I reinstalled it and I tried it out, but it's
Even with
changed so
all-
much I've got to go back and basically do the tutorial again.
You see, I don't even care about all that. I just hang out with some friends and be space pirates, you know?
Well, I was reading that you can even, there's stuff you can do now where you can buy like massive ships that have little fleets of smaller ships, so that if you get attacked by pirates, you like release your little swarms of ships that go out and attack things. And I'm like, oh, that sounds
It's pretty
awesome.
cool.
But every ship is super expensive.
Yeah.
I spent so much time I think I've got like $13 million, and it's still not even enough to buy anything cool. I'm not even halfway there.
That's insane. But no, I mean, it's definitely got me interested. If I can actually play with a group of friends, and I feel like it could be a lot of fun, and that's what I look forward to. I just need to find friends to play with now.
Well, we'll have to work something out there, because I've got it on the PC, you've got it on the PS4.
I'll
And
buy
then-
it on PC.
And then Neo, I keep mixing up you guys' names. It's so weird. If
If it ever comes on sale, then I'll buy it.
It is on sale. They cut it half price. That's why it's $30.
Okay, I'll buy it.
see, but I don't know if it's worth $30 yet. But I think
Yeah.
that's just also. I think, you know what? No, it is worth $30. It's my saltiness that says it's not.
Yeah, that's fair. That's my saltiness.
I completely disagree. From what I've seen of the game, I don't think it's a $30 game, but sure. And that's just because of how they've treated the game so far. Like, if they released the game as it is now, and then were saying they were going to add more content to it, then it'd be like, yeah, that's a $30 game. But it's not. It's a game that's been out for ages and has been shit for ages. Like,
And
they
I
can't
don't think
just
it's
say,
reduced in price once.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
this is the first time. But Neo, you got to think about it this way as well. The Division.
the Division's different.
They're doing the same thing the Division did. They're adding stuff to it. They're making it a better experience, like the Division did.
Went cheap. The Division went cheaper, and they built the game up from the now.
Well-
I'd invest in the Division
Well, I
But
heard that
this
there's
game
not
is
many
also
people-
cheaper now.
because it's on sale, not because it's cheaper.
Well, I think that's the permanent price drop now. It just recently went on sale because of the patch.
Okay.
Well, I heard that there's not even many people playing the Division now. It's like small and few.
Actually, Neo and I talked about this a little bit ago when we did our own podcast. Division has higher numbers now than it ever has.
The Division's doing pretty well at the moment.
Oh, that must have been. My guess is that started after the talk of the Division 2.
Oh,
No, because we did it before the Division 2.
Oh, really?
yeah, we
Was
did it before.
announced, yeah.
Because
Oh.
the Division started strong, and then people quickly realized how buggy and terrible it was, and so it died. And then, like a year later, they finally released a different DLC pack with it, and it revitalized the entire game because they added more survival elements and changed some of the mechanics slightly. And
Oh, okay.
it now has a higher player base now than it did when it was initially launched.
It
that's pretty
basically
awesome.
took them 2 years to actually make the game what it should have been, maybe even more.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Which is why I'm comparing No Man's Sky to the Division. They're doing the
Yeah.
same thing, Just they're a smaller team than the people who made the Division 2. You got to remember that. This was an indie team.
Was it an indie team?
Yeah, that made No Man's
But-
Sky. I think
Oh,
there's
that
only
made No Man. Oh, sorry, I thought you meant
Yeah.
the Division 2. I was like, I swear that was Ubisoft.
Yeah,
no,
no.
well, the people who initially started the Division was an indie team that Ubisoft bought. Massive.
That would make sense then.
hmm But No Man's Sky, I think, has like a development team of like 15 people.
I think that sounds right. It wasn't a huge team.
Yeah, it's a very small team.
Well, although they're one less now, because I think that guy's not there anymore. The one that
Sean Murray?
became the most hated man on the internet.
Well, yeah, because he made all these promises. And I don't necessarily 100% blame him. He could have been under pressure from Sony and other things, because they're initially a Sony team. Like, Sony signed a contract with them and bought them or what. And so he could have been under pressure, and he also could have just been sharing his dreams of it and just hyped by the fact that his game was getting so much attention.
Okay, that's maybe. Well,
But
either way, he fucked things over. Just
Yeah, he
my
did.
language.
no hard feelings there. It's true.
A little while ago, Mr. Gio, you mentioned the game Octopath Travelers before we started the podcast here,
I did.
and you seem pretty hyped about that game.
Okay, it's awkward. It's hard positioning for me because I have to stick on my ground and hate Nintendo. But I like Square Enix a lot, and I love a lot of the Final Fantasy games. And Octopath Traveler hits like that nostalgia bone, but at the same time seems like it kind of does interesting things with the JRPG. And I hear really good things about it, and it kind of reminds me of Final Fantasy VI a lot, which is one of the best Final Fantasies. It looks really good. It's beautiful. Has that old style artwork that's great. The music sounds fantastic, and I just love RPGs. Like I grew up with JRPGs, and so they have like a tender spot in my heart. And everything about this game just hits the right chord for me.
Well, because I've had mostly positive. I've heard mostly positive things about the game, but I've heard a few mixed feelings about it.
Yeah.
Mostly the mixed things just to do with small. They were all like small things where it was just some like repetitive text, or when you summarized some of the stories or like actually looked at what was happening, it was just kind of like all right, this is kind of lame. But I mean, for the most part, like even with some of the few things they didn't like about the game, they still really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I've seen, because I've done a lot of reading and research on it, is like even all the side quests and like every NPC in this game has like a pretty in-depth backstory. But the weakest part are like some of the main characters have some weak storylines. So that would be the mixed thing that I could think of. However, when you have 8 main characters, I feel like you can just kind of pick and choose your favorites and use that as your guiding force to play the game. But it's pretty in-depth, and from my understanding, the dialogue seems okay. I mean, it's a JRPG. I mean, I don't have exactly the highest standards when it comes to JRPG and dialogue. There's a lot of campiness and cheesiness and that kind of thing. So you either love that type of genre or you don't. You just got to look past certain things, you know? And so I can understand some perspectives on that. But at the same time, I mean, it's also a Nintendo game.
But we're not going to get into your hatred of Nintendo, because that'll just go on for a while. That'll become more of a rant, and then it become a tirade, and then we'll all be sad. You'll be miserable, and it won't be fun for any of us.
It's fine. Just let me be our jizzle, Nintendo. I'll be perfectly happy.
And give us refunds.
I don't care about it.
All right, you know what? We're gonna just avoid that, because there's another dark rabbit hole for the two of you guys to go down.
Yep, that's fair.
You guys played the Uncharted series.
Oh my god, yes!
I haven't played the latest one still.
I'm a fan.
You're a big fan?
Huge fan.
I saw a neat so have you played the new like kind of reboot of the Tomb Raider games then?
Yes, I also love the Tomb Raider games.
It looks like from what I've seen, and some stuff I've been reading up on, the Shadow of the Tomb Raider, it looks like it's taking some inspiration from Uncharted. It actually, and taking some of the really good aspects of it.
Well,
They've even completely changed, or not completely changed, but they've added a lot of new climbing mechanics that seem to really kind of speak of the or are inspired by the really good aspects of Uncharted, which is kind of nice to see.
Yeah, no, I mean, the original first Tomb Raider game also was obviously inspired by Uncharted, and then expanded upon that in Rise of the Tomb Raider. So, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Uncharted was a fantastic franchise, very successful franchise, and I think it's smart of Square Enix to borrow some of those elements, but change it in their own way, which they've done, and I think they've done very successfully. So,
Yeah.
I'm very excited for Shadow of the Tomb Raider because I loved the first one, and I love the second one, even though I haven't finished it yet.
How is the
But
second one? Because I haven't played it.
so the second one expands upon the first one in the best way possible. Like the first one, you have like these big maps you can kind of explore and go back and forth and collect stuff. And kind of the biggest downfall of Tomb Raider is there wasn't enough tombs, but all the tombs you did explore were fantastic. Like just perfect little mini dungeons or something you can get in and solve some puzzles, and it was great. I loved it. And the second one adds a lot more of that, way more open world. So that's one thing they changed from the Uncharted. Is Uncharted is a very linear, narrative driven, and Tomb Raider gives you a lot more exploration capabilities, and they add a lot more survival elements to it, so you can craft a lot more stuff. I think they probably borrowed that from Last of Us, I would say, more so than anything else.
Oh, okay. That would make sense. And I kind of see what you're talking about there, because I only just started playing The Last of Us recently, so that's all very fresh in my mind. And I'm enjoying it.
You're in for a treat.
I feel like, because I went to school for like 3D game animation, so I've done a lot of... So there's certain games that I have a hard time playing because I see how the graphics were put together, and it just kind of ruins some of the illusions for me. So I think if I had played Uncharted, or not Uncharted, sorry, The Last of Us when it first came out, I would have enjoyed it a lot more, because there's a few places, like when I'm walking around in the cities, or there's a few of the abandoned buildings that you're going through, and I just look around and I'm like, these graphics look so outdated.
See, and that's
it's hard. It makes, just because, I mean, I hate to admit it, but I'm a little bit of I like my graphics. I like things to look pretty and pristine.
You definitely should have played when it first came out, because when it first came out, it blew minds. It was the most graphical prowess game that existed at the moment, and I mean, I think it should have gotten Game of the Year in 2013. But you know,
well, what did get in its place?
GTA 5.
See, I can. That's a tough one.
I think GTA 5 was like a really good game in sense of how controversial it was, how many problems it tackled, and how beautiful the base game was. But I think GTA V Online is an absolute pile of dog shit.
And I think for me, it was hard. Like I understood why GTA 5 won, and it's because of Rockstar. You know, that's the name carried them to victory. I think.
Dang it! I was just about to say that.
I mean, that's what it is. I mean, GTA 5, good game. I think it was fine, but how I view it as, you can't claim it's Game of the Year when for the first month and a half it existed, it had no online. Like that was supposed to be part of the core game on launch, and then the online features didn't work for the longest time, so it was broken. Uncharted, or not Uncharted, The Last of Us came out 100% glitch free. They postponed it a couple more months so they could fix their glitches, and they did, and it came out perfect. And the narrative of the game is fantastic, and the multiplayer was actually some of the most fun multiplayer I've ever played in the game.
It has multiplayer?
So, it does, and it's a blast. So
I didn't know that was a thing.
How does it have multiplayer?
Okay, so essentially, how far?
I am. Oh, I mean, I guess it's old enough. You don't really have to worry about giving spoilers out.
Yeah.
I am at the part where I'm on my way to deliver the girl to some sort of camp or place or whatever it is, and we're just about to get a vehicle from the crazy step uncle.
Okay, you're in the beginning.
I'm still kind of in the beginning area of the game.
Yeah, the fact that you're calling her the girl instead of Ellie means you're not that far into the game.
I mean, I have a hard time remembering names.
Well, you will remember her
You
name.
won't by the end of it.
Yeah. Like I'm telling you, stick for the story. Like some graphics may be harder for you, but the story, I promise you, is one of the best stories in a video game ever. Anyway, so you've heard of the Fireflies, then, right?
Yes.
Okay. So essentially, how it works is the multiplayer is you're the part of the Fireflies, and then part of this other thug team or whatever. And so it's like a 4v4 multiplayer, and you share 20 lives as a whole. So 4 of you can go through 20 lives. So one person can die 20 times, or all 4 of you can die 5 times. And essentially the objective is there's like a team deathmatch. There's a couple smaller objective games where you capture points and stuff. But it's a blast. The game is fantastic. Like it's third person. It's done really well, but it takes the elements in The Last of Us, like the crafting part. So you can make like nail bombs. You can make like a nail bat.
Oh, okay.
You can make smoke bombs. It's really fun, and you have to build your own stuff. And so you start off with nothing, and then you find little chests to get supplies, and then you use those supplies to make things so you can fight and murder everyone else.
Oh, that is so cool. I'm gonna have to try that out now.
Yeah, the multiplayer is so much fun, and I can't wait for The Last of Us 2. Partially because of the multiplayer. I look forward to how they expand that. Like I spent a lot of hours on that multiplayer just because it was addictive and engaging.
Didn't expect to hear someone say they were excited for Last of Us for the multiplayer.
I mean, I'm more excited for the story because it's a great story, but like I have a lot of really fond memories of the multiplayer.
Well, for in Last of Us 2, they've released a fair bit of information on it now, and some really neat videos where they're actually showing some of the new physics in the game. Where like they had I'm not sure who you're playing as. I want to guess it's Ellie, but older, and where she like drops down like underneath the car, like squeezes her way under there, and you're like going up and you're like shooting these guys, and it just the weight of like the bullet hitting them affects like how they drop, and it's just all these little fine details where it's just like, my God.
Naughty Dog. My eyes, they're the best development team in existence. Like they pay so much attention to fine small details. I mean, there's other really good ones. Like Rockstar's a really good developer too. Like I wasn't trying to knock them for GTA 5. I just think they released an unfinished game.
No, that's fair.
But like Naughty Dog, they definitely take quality over quantity any day. Like they pushed the first Last of Us back twice actually.
I think so. That does sound right.
They pushed it back almost a year, but it was worth it. And just subtle things in that video that you explained, things that caught my attention that made me fall in love, was like the details of how Ellie like put an arrow in her bag or pulled an arrow out, or some of the things how when she would walk, how she would like touch the side of a car as she like went around the corner of it. And then even the combat, it just felt fluid and real and heavy. Like it wasn't like, you know how there's video game combat where you hack and tack and it looks good, but then like you can push a button and you just jerk one way that just doesn't make human sense.
Yeah.
The Last of Us didn't look like that at all. Like it just felt amazing and real, and like I instantly felt like I was behind her. And it was just how they film it. Like
the game was truly immersive.
Yeah, it really is. And that's all Naughty Dog. That's things they pay attention to. They focus on their characters, and then they focus on the environment, which works well for them.
Well, we are starting to run out of time here, so I think we definitely need to jump over to a game here, Mr. Neo, that, if I may say, from what I've seen about it, and I'm going to be picking up, it's basically like Avatar: The Last Airbender meets Wizards meets Dungeon Crawler.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what the game is, and it's amazing. It's so fun to play.
Do you want to let us know what it's called?
Wizards of Legend.
Wizards of Legend.
I need to know what this game's about because I've heard people talk about it, but only in context of just conversation. I don't know anything about it.
Well, you are missing out, and they obviously didn't talk to you about it properly, because if they did, you would already be here saying, I know all about it. Because I think it's on sale right now, too. It's like 10% off, which isn't a lot, but it's only like $15.
Okay, so tell me about it, Neo.
So it's like your typical, dungeon crawler in which you go through dungeon stuff. it's not typical at all because it's got like this super cool item system. So your character has like a selection of different spells he can use, and you'll go and buy the cards and stuff, and you can equip them and go through your little runs with the different spells you've equipped. And then when you're going through, you can pick up all your items and stuff. It has a kind of story to it where you're a wizard going to complete some chaos trials, and you have to defeat the 3 leader people. That is a very terrible way of explaining it, but I'm hoping you know what I mean by that. Yeah, there's 3 trials. You have to defeat 3 different people: an ice person, a fire person, and a earth, wood, tree man. A green person. And yeah, it's really fun. Like, you go pick up all your items, take on all the enemies. All the enemies are really varied, and it's quite challenging to take them on. They all have their own skills. And all the spells that you pick up along the way and that you use, they work different. Like, they're effective against different enemies in different ways. So I don't know, like, it's really intense. It's really fun to play. You sort of have to experience it to know how amazing it is. I personally think. I don't really think you can describe it in words, because it is quite simple. The concept's quite simple. Actually playing it, it's amazing, and it looks beautiful, and it feels beautiful. Everything feels super dynamic, and I don't know, like, you really feel like you're that wizard being a badass in that dungeon and getting your ass beat. You feel every tense moment as you're on 1 HP running around trying to find a health orb or a shop to buy a potion. It is, but it's local player.
No.
Yes.
I already bought it.
Well, one of the neat things that I don't know if this is true, but what it looks like it's one of those games that it's like simple to play but difficult to master.
Oh, definitely. There's no, like in a lot of roguelikes and stuff, the idea is you pick up more items on the way and get more powerful. There is that a bit, but really being powerful in this game means mastering the spells that you use, becoming really good at comboing spells together to keep people stun locked, becoming really good with your timing and dodging. It feels like Dark Souls in the way that skilled combat is really rewarding, but there is also things along the way to give you a little boost.
Oh, okay, that's a really good way of putting it. It reminds me of this, how I first found out about Wizard of Legend was through this game called 9 Parchments. And it seems like it's fairly similar. It's got a bit more emphasis on story. But what it's about is you're a wizard student going to some sort of college or university, and then some event happens that's where the 9 parchments, which are the different spells, are lost, and they are stolen. So you go on a adventure and journey to go and retrieve the 9 parchments, and along the way you unlock as you meet the other different students or teachers in the academy, you unlock them and you can start to use them, and each of them have their own different spells that they can use, as well as upgraded abilities. And you kind of go through where with the different parchments, switching different spells around, coming up with different combos, combining them together, and it's really neat. It's a lot more fun. Like, that one is a lot more fun with other people, but it's got it's focused a bit more on the I can't say for sure, but I think it's put a bit more emphasis on the story than what Wizard of Legend has, and I'd say it's a bit more of like a. It's not a casual game, but compared to Wizard of Legend, it definitely is a bit more on the casual side.
I'm looking it up now.
I tried, but my Steam decided not to work.
It's easy to suck me into a game.
See, I think Wizard of Legend is what I wish Magicka could have been. Because I really enjoyed Magicka, but it's a difficult game.
I have Magicka downloaded, but never played it.
It does look a lot like Magic.
Well, because you've got, I don't remember which buttons it is, but each, ASDF, it was QWER, ASDF. Each one of those is a different element. You have to, I believe you have to use 2 elements to be able to cast a spell, and there's
Yeah.
so many different combinations you could make to create so many different types of spells, and you've got to go and fight all these different creatures that require different things to do stuff to them, and as well as you're fighting other wizards, and it's just, you die so quickly and easily that in some fights it just... Or maybe I just died so quickly and easily. 'Cause
I
sucked
think
at
that
it, but-
sounds super awesome to play. It kind of reminds me of playing the wizard in. Did you ever play Gauntlet? I'm pretty sure you played Gauntlet,
yes.
Zio.
I
Yeah.
haven't. But it's very
The-
similar to
the
one of the
wizard was-
guys in Dota.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you had to combine the different elements to do different types of spells, and I always loved it. Wizard was always my favorite class because of that.
It is like, and it can be fun for the skill base, but I mean, I can kind of see where he's coming from, because the way they portray Magicka is to be more of a casual experience with friends, because it's hilarity ensues.
Yeah, it's a super funny game.
And I can definitely see where, like, because it's so skill based, it kind of detracts from the fun you could have. As if 9 Parchments, from what I've seen of it, looks like it's just more of goof off with one another and enjoy the experience. As Magicka, you can do that, but it's definitely there's a skill gap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you could put it that way. I mean, 9 Parchments, definitely there's a bit of skill required in areas.
Well, I'm not
But you
saying
can
there
get a-
isn't. I'm just with the different combinations, like you said.
Different
Okay.
levels of skill needed.
My favorite thing about Magicka, though, was how there's different, like, you could create different effects on different areas or shoot off different effects, and if you were playing with someone else and they cast like a different spell or they had their own little thing going, then sometimes the effects would like combine and create these super powered things.
Yep.
Like if you shot off this crazy powerful beam of energy and another guy shot off a beam, and you guys like shot it out so that they went and connected together, then they'd combine together and like shoot out at the tip of the triangle that it's made and into this even more power. It's just, oh man, so over the top.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That was good, but then at the same time, you could just murder each other on accident.
Yes, there was
It was so easy.
mostly murder by accident.
Yep.
That's
Or on
they could have
purpose.
when they were making the game, they could have just, instead of calling it Magicka, they could have just called it murder by accident. And
Or on purpose.
or on purpose. There is
There's
usually a lot of
there's
that
always-
too, depending on
there's-
who
yeah.
you're playing with.
Yeah, I mean, I never did it, but
By the sounds of it, I don't want to play that game with Zio.
I'm a curious person, and I want to explore and try new things.
Hey,
So, like,
wait a minute. I think I figured this out. You've been tricking us this whole time. You started out at the beginning talking about how you really like the story and those aspects, but you did it in these killer murder games. Really what it is you enjoy that. You're like a psychopath, where you enjoy that moment where you get
You
to
enjoy
convince
betraying
someone.
people's trust and
Yes.
then ending their lives.
Yes.
that is not true. Name one time I've ever betrayed you, me.
Okay,
That's
Zio,
part
do
of
you
your
really want to
plan.
go there with
That is
me?
part
Do
of
you
your
really want to
plan.
go there? The amount of times you betrayed me, you really want to bring it up with me of all people?
Okay, Fortnite was one time. It was the first time we played. I had to make sure if we could kill each other or not. I just wanted to see if friendly fire was a thing.
Okay, that's
Oh my
fair.
God.
Although it's a really douchey thing to do.
I didn't kill him. I just
Yeah,
shot him once in
you
the back.
knocked me. No, you knocked me, and then I knocked you several times in return.
Oh, well, he brought you down and he brought you right back up, right?
Yeah, see?
That's practically a song right there. You guys
He-
are fine.
He waited until I was on one cup. Like, he teased the shit out of me.
Okay, so yep, no, I see it now. Yeah, he's totally a psychopath.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm also the kind of guy who's willing to use myself as a subject, or others, to learn something. Like, I jumped off a cliff one time to see if I would take fall damage.
Did you?
Yes, I died.
That's
I'm pretty sure
It was an arc.
Oh, okay.
But I also used a buddy once as bait so I could get my dead body.
You used a body as bait so you could get your dead body.
No,
he used his buddy as bait so he could get his dead
Oh.
body.
I had a lot of stuff, and
I'm
then
starting to see a new
Well,
outlook on you.
In defense of Zio, it was only a hypo, so it
it's
doesn't
true.
really matter.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's fine then. That doesn't matter.
We should play more games together, Spen. You'll learn a lot about it.
That's what's great. You know what? Do you have who's your daddy?
No, but I want that.
That's
game.
one that I would love to play with you.
Oh man, is that multiplayer?
Yeah, Who's Your Daddy? That's the one where it's the dad and the son, and you're trying to either stop your son from, like the little baby son, from killing himself until the mom gets home because she's trusting you for the first time to babysit him. Or you play as the kid who's just trying to off himself by any means necessary, whether it's by drinking bleach, eating batteries, or jumping out in the pool in the middle of winter.
Is this on Steam?
This is on Steam.
I'm looking it up right now.
Well,
Have you not seen
Who's
Who's Your Daddy before, Zio?
No, I've never heard of this before.
I
It's
think I know
really
what we're
weird.
doing after
It's really
this.
weird.
I'm buying this game right now.
Well,
This looks amazing.
it is a lot of fun. I actually made a video of it with another YouTuber, and it was one of my favorite videos that we ever made. It was pretty good.
Stan, we are collabing in the very near future.
Well, we are running close to out of time at this point, so
Yes, that's fair.
do you guys have any last remarks? Anything you want to quickly add in before we shut things down?
Installing Who's Your Daddy now. That's my last remark.
What about you, Neil?
I'm loading Wizard of Legend back up.
Okay.
I am also gonna start playing that, so that might be on my channel soon. I'm pretty
Hey,
excited. It looks
Zio,
like
I
a
want
lot
a
of fun.
competition. First one to complete the game owes the other person a new game.
Who's
I
this?
can't do that with
Wizard of Legend?
roguelikes.
Why?
Can't do that because the last roguelike I got into playing, The Binding of Isaac, and I just
Yeah,
I
I completed that
I've completed.
different times with different characters.
Yeah, I'm saying like I'm a platinumist back then, and
Oh shit! Yeah.
I went for the platinum, and I'm at
Okay.
like 98%, and I just couldn't anymore. So-
Okay. Okay. Let me put it this way. First one to complete a full run, i.e., beat all the different bosses on this game.
Well, that's not fair. You got like a huge lead.
How do I have a huge lead? It's a fucking roguelike.
I don't know. Don't worry about it.
I have more
sorry.
experience playing the game, so you know.
We're wasting a lot
I
of
think
this.
I think that's the
endgame
lead he's
time.
talking about.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, on that note, I think this is the time we wrap it up because we've all got things that we've got to do, places we've got to be, and babies that we've got to either stop from killing themselves or eat lots of batteries. So,
Yes.
with that, for those that have joined in and you've made it to the end, thank you. We appreciate it, and we hope to see
Thank
you
you.
again some other well, I guess there's no video. We hope to have you hear us again some other time.
And we'll work on a video. We promise. Figure something somewhere.
There will be a thing somewhere.
There'll be
probably
some kind of
stuff.
content being released in the future.
Just believe.
Somewhere
Believe.
out there.
Your voice is beautiful, Spin.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to the Game Podcast. That's the G.A.M.E, short for Geeks Actively Making Entertainment Podcast. You can catch a new episode every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. For more content like this, make sure to come by our YouTube channel, as we are more than happy to say hello.